According to a data by Statista, the number of worldwide smartphone users skyrocketed from 3.668 billion people in 2016 to 6.378 billion by 2021, with projections indicating it will exceed 7.5 billion by 2026. These data show without a shadow of a doubt that smartphones have become the must-use device ever, and that we humans are attracted to it like no other gadget in history. But what are the pivotal moments that led to this? And why do smartphones have such a profound influence on our daily lives? Smartphones didn't just pop up out of thin air. Rather, they emerged from the convergence of two already existing devices, the first one being the mobile phone. The first mobile phone was invented by Motorola's engineer Martin Cooper back in 1973. This groundbreaking device, known as Motorola Dynatac 8000X, weighed 1.1 kilograms, needed 10 hours to recharge, and offered a maximum talk time of 30 minutes. And while this invention meant that we could at last have mobility and walk away from landline phones, it was quite bulky. And to make matters worse, when it hit the market in 1984, it cost $3,995, which is equivalent to $10,000 today. So clearly there was some ground to be covered. Many other new phones were introduced in the following years, pushing the product into many new consumer hands who adopted the features, letting them not only make phone calls but rather play music and take pictures on the same device. The second key player which led to the invention of smartphones were the personal digital assistants, or PDAs, with notable examples like the Apple Newton and Palm Pilot. These devices, which took off in the 90s, were very welcome in the business industry, since they provided calendars, to-do lists, calculators, and many other business applications all in one package and on the go. Other features that PDAs typically had included touchscreens, internet connectivity, data storage, and synchronization with computers. The Science Museum highlights that the rise of smartphones from the merging of mobile phones and PDAs was driven by two key technological breakthroughs. The first one being the development of Acorn's ARM microprocessor. This new processor boosted computer processing speeds by minimizing the instructions a computer performed, making it easier to have higher computing power while consuming less energy. More efficient processors meant smaller batteries, and smaller batteries made it possible for smartphones to be manufactured in slimmer, more practical sizes, while also packed with new features. The second key technological advancement that paved the way for smartphones was the development of the third generation mobile networks, or 3G, in the early 2000s. This new network, which followed the 2G, allowed for much faster data transmission, which made it easier to send and download text, image, and videos, with many other new possibilities. The first actual smartphone was invented in the year 1992 and hit the market in 1994. It was IBM's Simon Personal Communicator, or SPC for short. And although it is considered a smartphone, it wasn't as smart as today's devices. Nonetheless, it was as smart as you would get with only 1 megabyte of RAM. Simon could access the calculator and calendar, make phone calls, exchange emails and faxes, and it had a touchscreen on which one could write or sketch notes using its stylus pen, which was more or less perceived as a magical wand in its time. As to its aesthetics, however, it is safe to say that it had none, given its heavy brick-like shape. And its hefty price of $1,100 didn't help its popularity either, leading to only 50,000 units being sold. And following this lack of popularity, Simon was eventually withdrawn by the distributors from the market. During that period, several companies, especially Nokia, HP, and Motorola, were busy creating integrated devices that combined mobile phones and PDAs, each new model packed with exciting new features. The beginning of the 2000s in particular witnessed the rise of many new smartphones, such as the Nokia N95, Samsung Blackjack, Sony Ericsson K800i, and the then prestigious BlackBerry smartphones. However, the beginning of the new smartphone era wasn't marked until the year 2007, in which Apple made its grand entrance with its trump card, the iPhone.
An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device, and we are calling it iPhone.
With those words, Steve Jobs introduced the original iPhone, which changed the game due to its many characteristics, including a huge screen size of 3.5 inches with a 160 pixel per inch display, a thin physical shape with a thickness of 0.46 inches only, a multi-touch screen, 4 gigabytes of RAM, a 2 megapixels camera, an effortlessly easy user interface, a dominant battery life that allowed for 8 hours of talk time, an accelerometer that detects device rotation in order to show contents in landscape or portrait, a proximity sensor that detects when the device is lifted to user's ear and turns off display, saving power doing so, an ambient light sensor that adjusts the display's brightness according to the surrounding ambient light, ability to sync contacts, web bookmarks, calendar, photos, and iTunes library from Mac or PC, a display QWERTY keyboard with predictive texting, along with many other features that made the device so revolutionary. After the renowned success of the iPhone, it was clear that people worldwide were invested in this device and what the future of it could hold. Just after a year, in 2008, the first device using Google's Android operating system, the HTC Dream, was released, sparking a wave of innovation with numerous manufacturers developing new smartphones, each packed with new features. By 2013, 1 in 5 people carried a smartphone, and smartphone sales for the first time ever surpassed those of traditional feature phones. It is worth mentioning that while Apple's iPhone and later smartphones, which were manufactured by industry leaders, had all those features, it wasn't usually them that invented those technologies. A lot of those innovations, like integrated cameras, GPS, and fingerprint scanners, were actually developed by other companies before Apple. The thing is, none of those other companies achieved the same level of success as the iPhone did. But now, if we go back to the roots of it, what exactly defines a smartphone at its core? According to Lenovo, a smartphone is a cellular phone that runs off a mobile operating system and functions like a mini computer. There are many features that contribute to most smartphones, including thin physical appearance with large multi-touch capacitive touchscreens, high-performance CPUs and RAMs, embedded memory, long-lasting battery lives, SIM cards which give every phone its unique identity and allows it to connect to cellular networks worldwide, high-speed cellular networks such as 5G that allow for rapid data transfer, data roaming, which allows phones to seamlessly cross network providers and geographic boundaries, high-definition rear and front cameras with video capability, high-quality sound devices with ability to connect to wireless headphones, common sensors such as accelerometers, proximity and ambient light sensors, ability to download applications from a centralized store, ability to run multiple applications simultaneously, synchronizability, wireless connection, QWERTY keyboard, cloud storage, virtual assistants, and GPS. According to research by Deloitte, the percentage of United States consumers who consider smartphones their most important device was only 6% in 2010. This number had risen to an all-time high 36% in 2019, leading the runner-up flat panel TV by 14% and making smartphones the most important device of the decade. But what is it that makes smartphones so popular and attractive for us? Smartphones' virality could be explained by many factors that contribute to our obsession with it, including services that we use it for and features that it has. Here, I'll list 20 of those factors that make smartphones so indispensable. Here we go. Portability. The smartphone's compact design makes it the first truly personal device that we can carry on our persons wherever we go. Endless options. With a wide range of colors, sizes, features, and mainly price points, it's no wonder these devices are so popular. There's basically something for everyone. Now, there are fairly expensive options, but many people are opting for budget-friendly smartphones over PCs. A business device. Brick-and-mortar business owners use their smartphones daily to conduct business tasks and for communication, while small online business owners are even more dependent on their smartphones, due to it allowing them to prototype their creative ideas in the form of websites and apps and seeing how their prospects react to it before scaling. And when it comes to digital marketing, businesses globally reap the rewards of smartphones, as they are the primary device used by their leads. A banking and payments device. Smartphones do this by replacing cash and credit cards, which makes transactions easier and faster both for everyday life at vendors and for online shopping. Learning and education. Using smartphones, you can always ask whatever crosses your mind to Google or artificial intelligence and get an answer ASAP. You can also connect with professionals, join online classes, or just watch tutorials and courses and learn new skills and languages anytime, anywhere. In fact, you're probably watching this video on your smartphone. So if you're finding it informative, I'll ask you to hit the subscribe button for more informative topics to come. Awareness. This includes political awareness by staying up to date on local and global news directly from the people involved rather than from biased TV networks, giving individuals the power to show their sides of the story and challenge the status quo, while also making it more difficult for autocrats to control the narrative. Needless to say, this awareness also includes financial and weather forecasts. Connectivity. Smartphones allow us to stay connected with our loved ones by text, voice, and video, while also allowing us to be connected to the internet and the world in general via social networks. Productivity. With a plethora of apps for to-do lists and note-taking, staying organized has never been easier. Health monitoring. People now use their smartphones for tracking health habits, calorie intake, movements, and workouts. A conduit. You might not love your smartphone itself that much, but you sure love all those addictive applications and websites that your smartphone allows you to access. So even if you're not head over heels for the device itself, it serves as your gateway to all the digital fun that you crave every day. The key to daily services. Our smartphones give us the means to access everyday used services, such as ride-sharing services, food and grocery delivery services, and streaming platforms. Photography and videography. We all have that one friend who can't start eating until they have snapped a photo of their meal, or the one who prioritizes shooting the perfect social media story over enjoying the moment. How could they possibly survive without a smartphone? Navigation. Smartphones come equipped with GPS, helping you navigate to your destination while also providing real-time traffic updates. Entertainment on the go. This includes mobile gaming, music streaming, and watching movies and shows. Alarm. An underrated way that we use our smartphones is as an alarm clock, both for everyday wake-up routines and for calendar events. Connecting with other devices. From smartwatches that track our fitness, to wireless buds and pods, all the way to linking us to our cars for music and contacts, and to larger screens for an enhanced viewing experience. Status. Since the first smartphones, certain people always go out of their way to buy the latest and most expensive ones in order to signal a certain social status, even if it is costing them a fortune. All-time company. I don't know about you, but I personally left behind my wallet more times than my phone. The fact that it is always accompanying us is a factor in and of itself that encourages us to use it more often and spend more time on it. Did we forget something? Yeah. Making phone calls. We almost missed this, but for a realistic reason. According to a study by mobile.co.uk on smartphone owners, making phone calls didn't even make the top 10 of their most regularly used features on their smartphones. Finally, is the new norm. Basically, people who don't own a smartphone usually find themselves isolated from others and can't even lead a normal life. Picture yourself without your smartphone for a second. Do you now see why smartphones are the most important device ever? According to Pew Research Center, 85% of Americans owned a smartphone in 2021. The number was only 35% 10 years prior in 2011. This vast increase in numbers is partly due to the many factors that we just mentioned that make smartphones so attractive for us. And although it has many benefits and eases our daily lives, it is important to recognize that smartphones also come with their own set of drawbacks, such as privacy concerns. All our web searches, browsing choices, and other online activities are being tracked through cookies, allowing platforms like social media to target us with tailored ads for products and services that the algorithm thinks are relevant to us. This tracking, however, also means that our personal data is up for sale to the highest bidder. As per many sources, our smartphones are the authorities' best shot at spying on us. Location is spied on, calls are recorded, photos and videos are taken, and in the case of many regimes, people's freedom and livelihood are at stake due to using this device that's on our persons all the time. The same concerns also apply for hacks and cyber attacks that not only compromise the smartphone owner's privacy but also their finances. Physical side effects. These include vision-related problems such as eye strain, blurred vision, and overall eyesight deterioration. It also includes sleep disruption, especially due to the smartphone's emission of blue light, which messes with our melatonin production. Another obvious physical concern is the harm done to our posture as a result of constantly looking down at our smartphones. This includes pain and issues regarding our shoulders, neck, and back. Not just that, excessive smartphone use also contributes to a lazier lifestyle in general, with less physical activities that could then lead to health issues such as obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. Mental side effects. Anxiety and depression are the main mental problems due to the excessive use of smartphones and social media in particular, on which people's lifestyles are inflated and appear far superior compared to the viewer's lifestyle. One other factor that plays a negative role in this regard is the overwhelming amount of choices and information available. Another mental concern is dependency, including the habit of constantly checking the smartphone or developing addiction towards certain apps on it. A major concern lately has been our shrinking attention spans. Now, I'll be diving deeper into this topic in an upcoming video, so make sure that you stay tuned in. But basically, this means that we can no longer maintain our focus on a single task for prolonged amounts of time. And guess what? This is how productive work is done. Social side effects. Especially among the younger people, prioritizing time spent on smartphone leads to a lonelier and more isolated lifestyle. Instead of engaging in face-to-face interactions with their social circles, many rely on phone calls and messages. And even when they do meet up, time spent on smartphones by some interferes with building genuine connections and makes the person in question appear as rude or indifferent to everyone around, which also produces a negative social impact. Accidents. Did you know that 8% of fatal traffic accidents are linked to drivers using their smartphones? Say you're driving at 70 kilometers per hour and you get a notification and you decide to check your phone. If this process only takes you 5 seconds, then you'd have traveled 100 meters distracted during this time. People literally die every year due to the misuse of this device. As I have just presented, Smartphones as a device come with the good and the bad, and whatever are the consequences of having this addictive device, the fact is that it is here to stay. And worldwide manufacturers are constantly innovating their way to get their products into more hands. Here are 8 strategies they are using to do so, making options for each price range. If you are willing to pay a premium to get some of the latest technologies, then you have the flagship choice from which to buy, such as the Samsung S series. But if you more so prioritize the budget, then you have both the mid-range and the even cheaper budget options from the same brands to buy. This makes it easier for people at all entry points to acquire a smartphone. Security and privacy. With each new technology, there are new security breaches that cyber criminals could exploit in order to get hold of the user's personal and financial data. Multi-factor authentication and biometric recognitions, such as fingerprint and face signal, play a role in enhancing the security. However, the key to staying safe lies in regularly updating the device with the latest system and security updates, which leads us to our next point, future-proofing. For those who want their smartphones to accompany them a little longer than a couple of years, they will be needing longer software support, which means that their smartphones will continue to get updates that ensure compatibility with future apps and provides essential security patches. Better screens and displays. This includes making the screen size larger for a more immersive content consumption. This also involves revving up the screen refresh rates to values as high as 240 Hz, which provides a smoother viewing experience and is a game changer for mobile gamers. Another display-related improvement is the replacement of traditional LCD displays by AMOLED displays, which not only provide more vibrant colors but also consume less battery. More advanced parts. These include processors, memories, and GPUs that are overall improving the smartphone's performance, including allowing for quicker data transfer, seamless performance on demanding applications, more efficient multitasking, handling competitive games, rendering high-resolution videos, and overall making the system more responsive. Cameras. A very decisive factor when it comes to purchasing a smartphone is the camera. Some trends that smartphone manufacturers have recently been following include the introduction of higher resolution cameras with more megapixels and video capabilities that can shoot at 8K resolution. You will also find a variety of lenses on the camera, like ultra-wide, telephoto, and macro, giving you more creative options. Along with the camera itself, the smartphone's AI computational photography is also advancing, allowing for better scene recognition, image stabilization, night mode, and depth of field effects. Not only that, different companies are implementing different techniques when it comes to the placement of the cameras as well. Improving battery. With all those enhancements that we just mentioned, rises the urgent demand for battery improvements. This both includes increased battery capacities that allow for more time between charges and increased battery lifespans by making the device more power efficient. Integrating AR and VR. Augmented reality, or AR, allows us to interact with the real world using our device's camera. A major breakthrough in this area occurred around a decade ago, and it was the Pokemon Go game. The game allowed players to seek out Pokemons in the real world and interact with them, catching the Pokemons, leveling up, completing missions, and battling against other players. Since then, this technology has been put to marketing use as well. Manufacturers have also been trying to make smartphones compatible with VR headsets. And although this hasn't worked out yet, it might be one of the many advancements of the future of this industry. I'm not done yet, just give me another 20 seconds of your time. If you found this useful, share it with whomever you think it might concern. And in the end, do you remember Martin Cooper, the man I mentioned was responsible for the invention of the first mobile phone? Here is him at 93 years old, responding to a TV presenter's question, what would you say to anybody, like myself, who are upwards of 5 hours on their phones?
Do you really spend 5 hours a day? I would say, Jane, get a life.